Thank you very much, Charlotte. Hello everybody. I'm Nicolas Bernard Masson. I am the owner of the company Masson International, and I'm happy to introduce my company and also the Swiss market to you today. As Charlotte said, we cover other markets, and I will dig deeper into that a little bit later. So. About the company is was established in 2019 with a partner of mine. We are a small team, and we use also some freelance from time to time. Unfortunately, 2020 didn't allow us to grow as we would like, but we hope the best for the future. So. We'll see how it goes. It wasn't maybe the best time to start the company, but we're doing well, so I don't have to complain. The headquarters is in Switzerland. The LLC is registered in Switzerland with a subsidiary in France, in Lyon. So we have two offices. My partner and I, and also our colleagues and freelancers, are former international consultants or export area managers in various industries. So we want to cultivate a team of experienced people in export and sales. The area we cover is Switzerland, France, and Belgium. We do not have the strategy to go in other countries other than these three countries. And who do we serve? We serve international companies. For example, we have worked for European manufacturers of machinery equipment. We have worked for European food producers. We've worked for a brand for fragrance from many sectors, and primarily international companies that want to enter the Swiss, French, or Belgian market. We also work for economic development organizations such as territories, chambers of commerce, industry associations. To give you an example, we are the office in France, Switzerland, and Belgium for the US state of Pennsylvania. So our company represents these states and attract companies from these three countries to the US, to Pennsylvania. We have different kind of services. We service the companies with market studies, with partner search, with business development services, with import and warehousing, and with target search for M&A. So in the market studies, we would give a clear view on the company's potential inside the three markets that we cover. For partner search, we identify and qualify the best partners, such as importers, distributors, integrators, or customers. For business development, we dedicate some time to develop the business of the company. So we do part-time or full-time business development. We visit distributors, clients, we increase the sales. We do follow-up as well. We do also some import and warehousing. So for example, we have some samples here in the office for some of our clients that they need to import some samples to introduce the products to some of the distributors that they might select. So it's good. It's a good support to provide for them. We don't do a big warehouse and we don't have a big stock, but for some small talks and samples, that's good to provide as a service. And finally, we do target search for M&A. So if for example, a Swedish company wants to find good Swiss companies or French company to acquire, we would find a target and organize B2B meetings for the Swedish company. To clarify also about our services, we don't do corporate services. So we don't do accountings, we don't do any legal services. We are not doing anything administrative. We are purely focused on sales and business development. For economic development organizations, we do trade shows and buyers missions. So we welcome delegations on trade shows in France or in Switzerland or in Belgium. And we can also organize buyers mission abroad from French buyers that would like to travel to Germany, for example. We organize, as I said, delegations, so it can vary. The goal can vary. It can be for industry associations, for example, a delegation of plastics companies from Estonia coming to France. We organize also FDI attraction visits. So if you have a politician that wants to meet French companies in order to attract them into their territory, we would organize this delegation. We are also trade office, either for territories or chambers of commerce. So, for example, we are working for Chamber of Commerce and we are their export partner for France, Switzerland, and Belgium. So any member of the chamber can go through our services, and that's either financed by the chamber or the chamber push our services, or it's some sort of white labeling. It really depends on the chamber. And finally, we do foreign direct investment attraction. And as I said, we are the FDI office for the state of Pennsylvania. Here I put a case study just to give you an example of a typical partner search that we do. We worked recently for a European manufacturer of tailor-made machines, and those machines are used in the pharmaceutical sector, in the food processing sector, and also in the non-food sector. And we would look for distributors in the market. So we identified around 56 distributors, some competitors as well, and one company that is going bankrupt. So there's a possibility to acquire these, the assets. Our clients asked us to reach out to 25 of the targets identified. We organized around 6 meetings. They selected 2 distributors, and they are already right now making offers for potential customers. Now I will quickly switch about and speak about the Swiss market to give you a quick snapshot and to give you some examples of what's going on right now in Switzerland, and you might have some ideas if you want to reach out to some of your prospects or clients. Switzerland is a relatively small country with 8.6 million inhabitants. The currency is the Swiss francs. There's a federal government with 26 cantons, and each canton has their own government and tax rules. There's 4 official languages, and Switzerland is not part of the EU. However, it's part of the Schengen area, and it's located at the center of Western Europe, bordered by France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein. Yeah. Here you have a map of the languages that are spoken in Switzerland. So as you can see, there's a big German part and a French speaking part. And in the southern Switzerland, you have also some cantons that are speaking Italian and Romansh a little bit. Here I put a slide to give you a better idea. You have around 63% of the population that is speaking German or Swiss German, and around 23 French, and not so far from 10% Italian. Switzerland is the 5th country in the world for GDP per capita, and it's amongst the 20th largest economies in the world. The Swiss GDP is split as followed: 74% for services and 25% for industry, and less than 1% for agriculture. What you have to know is most Swiss companies are small or medium-sized companies, so it's a good market to enter as you can speak equals to equals. Switzerland is not composed mainly by big groups or large headquarters. It's most of the times SMEs. Switzerland has 31 free trade agreements with 41 partners. I put the list on this link that you can consult a little bit later. For imports, the imports were growing just before the crisis. I've put the number for 2019 because it seems more relevant to me. 2020 was a special year, so I hope we get back to this volume of trade after this sanitary crisis. But as you can see, import and export were growing. And here below you have a list of the three main partners for imported products and for exported products of Switzerland. So a lot of exports remain in Europe, but you have a large part for USA, and Switzerland import a lot of its products from the neighboring country, as you can see, a lot from Germany and some from Italy and France. Why Switzerland is a good network. It's the second highest purchasing power in Europe. It's the first most innovative country in the world for many years in a row. So a very educated country, a lot of engineers, a lot of PhDs. The economy is based on SMEs and it's very stable economy and country. What I can say about Swiss companies is they are very often long-term partners, and Swiss people expect high quality products or services, and they know it usually comes at a higher price. And Swiss people are pragmatic, liberal, and business oriented. Here's a list of do's and don'ts for Switzerland. I won't go through all of it. What you have to keep in mind is Switzerland is not another region of Germany, France, or Italy. I have some clients that say to me, oh, I want to do a market study in France. Can you just add the French part of Switzerland into it? No, Switzerland, it's not the 14th French region or the X number of Germany land. It's a country in itself with its own culture. Sure, we use the same language as neighboring countries, but it's a different culture in different country. Another thing that I want to emphasize on is don't use generic pricing. Switzerland has tariffs. You need to adapt your pricing if you want to enter Switzerland. A common mistake also is that companies, they overprice in Switzerland, and sometimes consumers associations here, they really don't like that, and they try to fight this trend. So it's not because Switzerland has a lot of GDP per capita that you have to multiply by 2 your prices. You need to adapt it, but not too much, I would say. This is the list of industries that you can find in Switzerland that are predominant. You have a lot of life sciences and biotechnology companies, medtech companies, a lot. ICT, AI, and blockchain is on the rise. You have also robotics, advanced manufacturing, and drone. Here also is a good chunk, a good part of the Swiss economy is the machinery, electrical, mechanical, or metal industry, all the precision machining. That's why the watchmaking sector is really strong in Switzerland. It's because there is a high knowledge in the high precision machining. Of course, financial services, fintech, anything related to banks, and finally engineering, because as I said, Switzerland has been, and it's probably still the #1 innovative country in the world, according to some rankings. In the next slide, I have described some of the major industries. I will not read the full slides, but you can receive them. About life science and biotechnology, it contributed to 1/3 of the GDP growth in 2018. Here you have the number of companies. So there are around 523 biotech companies, very specialized. Most of them are SMEs, 1,400 medtech companies and suppliers, and 78 pharmaceutical companies, such like Roche, Novartis, you name them. Most pharmaceutical companies have at least a factory or center in Switzerland. Switzerland is the third European country in biotech patent application, ahead of Netherlands and the UK. And here below you have the major indication for biotech products sold in Switzerland, so you can check it later. What you can keep in mind is Switzerland's strategy in the upcoming years is to become a hub for personalized health, for e-health, personalized health like cell and gene therapy, anything related to that. And they already began to invest in this subsector. Next is Medtech. Medtech is a great sector for Switzerland. Personally, I was a former export manager for a Swiss Medtech company. And what you can remember in this sector is half of the Swiss companies are reducing their portfolio of products up to 20% due to an increase of regulations and standards. So as they are reducing their portfolio of product, there might be good opportunities for medtech companies that want to enter the Swiss market. And here in Switzerland, the sector is expecting the prices of products to increase by 8%. AI, blockchain, and ICT is a good sector and soaring sector in Switzerland. As you can see, Google, IBM, Microsoft, they all conduct AI research from Switzerland. And nearly 18% of AI patents filed in Switzerland are considered top impact. So it's a great place to innovate in the AI sector. Robotics, advanced manufacturing, and drones. You have a lot of Switzerland regions that are promoting these industries abroad to attract foreign companies. That it's part of their strategy, and they display that on their websites. So, for example, Switzerland holds the third place for global robotics patent. In relation to number of inhabitants, I've put here some example of robotics companies in advanced manufacturing, in the health sector, and in the drone sector. There's many things to say about that, but I don't want to annoy you. Here you see the machinery and precision making, all the metal industry. That's why Switzerland is so big in the watchmaking industry too. Almost 80% of the products are exported, around 60% in the EU. And here you can check the subsectors in this big industry. There's also a call from the Swiss government to push this Industry 4.0 vision. So they have put together the Industry 2025 initiative to grow, to digitize this machinery precision making sector. So if you're working with clients for anything related to digitizing the production systems, etc., making the factory 4.0, it's interesting to promote Switzerland at some point. Fintech and financial services, you can find around 382 fintech companies in Switzerland. These are the subsectors where they're located in. Switzerland has numerous companies also involved in international trade and financial services. Half of worldwide trade transactions for coffee and sugar are done in the city of Geneva. So if you have a companies as a client that is in technology for transactions, etc., it is relevant to prospect this industry. and more than 1/3 of oil, cereal, and rice trade transactions are also made in Geneva. Anything related to blockchain is great. Switzerland has been ranked number one blockchain friendly country in Europe. And that's it for the slides about Switzerland. I've put here some sources. And here's our contact info. You can check more about our activity and services on our website, and we also have a LinkedIn page. I hope I was clear and concise.